Good morning. This is Dr. Bill White again with the American Orthodontic Society, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit this morning about extractions. Has been a big deal over the years, but they finally settled on the deal that extractions are all right. You just do them very sparingly, and if you do it correctly and everything, the patients just look so much better. And this is what I wanted to show on this particular young lady. She worked in the office and had been there quite a while and saw what we did and everything, and she more or less insisted on having some extractions done because she had seen the difference in the aesthetics that the extractions help perform. And so we did. We took her first bicuspids out, and I'll go through this case and show it to you from start, where we were working on it and closing the space and everything. It won't be a long video if I just don't talk too much about it. But anyway, I say extractions or not extract. Extract or not extract. You be the judge. Down underneath there, I said, it's better yet that the patient and the family make the decision. I always like to have the family come in there and say, this is what we want, and I kind of show them as much as I could prior to the extractions what the result of this would be, and let them make the decision. I didn't want to do that. Some ethnic groups are fuller than others, and some don't want to be full at all regardless of the ethnic group. Like I had a lady who was Chinese, and she went back over to China and saw some of her old aunts and everything, and she took pictures of them and brought them back over for me. And she showed me these pictures. Says, now, I don't want to be that full in the face. These were people out in the country, and stuff. And so we took teeth out on her, and I had a job closing all that space on that lady. Excuse me. But it helped her appearance. And she was married to a Caucasian guy here that we were doing work on too. So anyway, this has been a problem throughout the years, and I'm going to go ahead and show you this young lady. This is the only picture I'll show you, but excuse me. There's another thing to think about here in this case. We have this young lady in braces, but we've got brackets on her, so her teeth are together and she's still this full. Now, if you were in bands, you'd have 2 pieces of metal and 2 layers of cement between every tooth in the head in there. Now, we had bands on her molars, I'll admit, made it a little bit, but when you had every tooth banded, you could not judge what you saw here. In other words, this might work out perfect if you were using bands on it. You kind of wanted it to be fuller like this. And then when you took the bands off, that's a lot of space in there. And the teeth close up and it goes back, and you can't do anything but guess at what it's going to be. And so in this particular case, she had brackets. So I knew it would be this full, and she did too, and she was working there, and she saw the results of some of our extracted cases, and she just more or less insisted I didn't twist her arm in any way to do this. So anyway, we took out her bicuspids, and I'll show you a little bit of the closing the space. There's no the orthodontics and all that we won't go into on this. We used a single bracket, and we were closing the space. This little wire that comes in here, we run around and we twist that down. That's a 12 thousandths soft stainless steel wire, and we put it on there and clamp it down. It closes everything real tight and holds this group, and you change your arch wire or do whatever you want to it, and that interlacing stays on. So that's something else we might throw in here on the case. Look like I interlaced both upper and lower arches, and that you take an explorer tip right here, see that deal, and we stuck it in there and twisted it and tightened that thing up, and I mean you can blanch the teeth. It closes the space, and so the space was closed, and it still looked that full and protrusive out here, and not as attractive as it will be if we took the teeth, the bicuspids out, just the first 4 bicuspids out, and then we just brought the facial structure in some and brought the back teeth up from the back a lot, and that gives you a little more room for the wisdom teeth. But we didn't have that problem. We had she had a TMJ problem also, but we're not going to get into that here. Okay, we close this space with a elastic chain, which is a kind of a neat thing to do, but we put little buttons on these molar teeth, and we hook the elastic chain and come up, pop it through the inner the contact point, and then hook it up here, and then go back and pull on this side. Now if you want to rotate this cuspid in this direction, you put more force over on the buccal than you do on the lingual. But if you want to turn it the other way, you can have this a little looser, and then you could tighten this one up pretty tight, and it'll rotate this cuspid as it pulls it back. And here, where you're just closing a small space, we would use tip in the arch wire to bring the roots together. You can do that too, and in case you don't, you're somebody that don't understand tip, or you haven't used it or something like that, I'm gonna show you what we're talking about. Like you've got a bicuspid sitting in here, and you've got that's your second bi, and this would be your cuspid tooth up in this area, and we're bringing these two teeth together. This tooth would be a little longer down here, and you've got the bracket. Let's say the bracket is something in here. I don't have to draw the whole thing, but now, and you want to pull these two teeth together, and you don't mind the front going back, in other words, and this is coming from this side, and of course you got the gap over here too. But when the arch wire comes through this gap right here, you put tip in it that tends to make the root go over here, and so you drop it on this side and come up like that, and then drop back to your arch wire. Then you come over here, you want this root to come in this direction, and this one's going in this direction, then you put a reverse of that. In other words, you can figure out where you want to put the root, and then just kind of angle down like this, and then your wire going through the bracket has to be something like that. And then you drop it. This is not marking good. You drop it and come across, and here you come up and come across like that. Now, in tipping an arch, tipping a tooth, we're sticking a lot more in this than extraction. When you're doing a tip, like if you want to tip this section of the wire right here and have it come in like that, that's an awful lot, and it's hard to twist it and put it in. Then you have to come back to your arch wire and back up to the arch wire. You could actually raise or lower the tooth by how you tip it. You can tip it and do the same thing with it by doing all of it down here and coming up like that, and now leveling out, and the tooth will go down. See, the other one, this is exactly the same level as the rest of the wire, and if you do it this way, the point where it crosses this will bring the tooth down, and you can go in the other direction. In other words, you can pick the tooth up, or you can take it down while you're tipping it, and when you tip it, you bring it together and pull these two crowns together over here, and the roots will be right underneath them, see. And I know if you've been in orthodontics very long, you have to have learned that, but you can tip it and do it like that, and it'll raise the tooth or lower the tooth if you do it this way. Okay, that's enough of that. Now, we close this gap, and we kept these teeth parallel. Now, a lot of times I was holding here and dropped this elastic chain down lower, and that too helps bring the root over to it. So anyway, we closed it all up, and we had this interlacing on there, and we closed that thing together. Now this is an intruding wire right here. See, it was way down, so we're changing the height. In other words, the teeth were too far up here, so we brought these lower teeth down. I hope you can see this stuff. I have to guess at where my hands are in here, but anyway, that's an intruding wire. You can't see me writing on here, but I'm writing all over the thing. You can see me move, but you don't see my hand. I don't know why they do that, but anyway, they do. Anyway, here we are. We're closing the space up, and we get it pretty much together, and I'm going to show. All right, we get it all lined up, and here is the result of it. You saw this lady's face when we started of it. Let me kind of give you another little view right quick. She looked like that, and she had brackets on her teeth, and I knew that was that full. There was no question. If it had been bands, you couldn't have decided. All right, we take the teeth out. She wanted her face back, and she had seen patients that we had done this on. Now, I don't just go extracting teeth on people. We really, that's the last straw, and I let people decide more or less what they want to look like. If they want to look full, it's okay with me, but it can look a lot better. Now, this face would not have looked like this if you had left those teeth in there, and this is to me, in my taste, this is much prettier than it is with that fullness like that. And here it is with a smile. And we had a TMJ problem, so we had her, she wasn't closed as good. This was in 90, and I'll show you here. Here it is in 93. You can see where the teeth are fitting in there. This is 1993. And so I'm going to close this thing out, and here is the result that we got from extracting teeth. Now there are people running around the country just, or there used to be, I don't know, it's so ridiculous to say, oh, I'm never extracting any teeth, you know. Now back when they had the labiolingual, my uncle taught at Emory, and he was a labiolingual guy. Excuse me. And my stepmother, my mother passed away when I was 4, but she worked for a guy in San Angelo who was labiolingual, and he straightened my teeth, and it came out good, or pretty good. But there were a lot of people that they kept the teeth. They could not deal with them if they had an extraction site with the labiolingual stuff. They could no more bring teeth together and parallel them than a man in the moon. So they assumed this, that God gave you these 32 teeth. Of course, they took out wisdom teeth, and you're going to keep them, you know, because they could not work with them with that. So anyway, we've extracted teeth on this young lady, and she wanted to do it, and so we did it. I didn't twist her arm in any way, but she had seen what results we got on so many people that we did extract teeth that were very full-faced, and she wanted this done, and so we did it, and it darn sure helped. She's a much prettier lady after having that done. So I'm going to hush up here and see if I can close this thing out. I hope if you're not a member of our group, and I want you to join us and subscribe to this thing and let us know about it. So thank you for watching, and I hope you get something about extraction and not extraction. We do not just over the board extract teeth, but we do extract when that's what needs to be done. So when it doesn't need to be done, the extraction is, we decide to extract, that's the last straw. See? Okay, I'm going to close up and we'll talk to you later. Let's see if I've got this thing going.